Oh, well, hello, Ambush! Welcome to this episode of the Desert Tiger Podcast, here with me, your host, Colton G. And today on the show, I am joined by singer-songwriter Raff Pylon, as we're talking about his latest track, King's Lane. Yes, King's Lane is a powerful new single from Raff Pylon, and not only does it see him teaming up with the storied Tito Jackson, it also sees him teaming up with Amnesty International to fight a very important topic, systemic racism. We're diving into what inspired this song. How did a member of the Jackson 5 end up becoming involved with the project and even the music video as well? We're not just talking about that. Oh no, we're diving into Raff's time as the lead singer of pop rock group Bridgeway and what it was like to transition from that sound into this new pop world that Raff finds himself in right now. What was it like to release his first singles, his first tracks as Raff Pylon, which also saw him recording with a symphony, 19 different stringed instruments. What was it like to have that opportunity? We're also going to be talking to Raff today about his time competing on the latest, this current season of The Voix over in Montreal in Quebec. We're also going to take a little bit of time to talk to Raff today about hockey. Not just the NHL, but also EA Sports NHL hockey. What are some of his favorite songs from those games? What game has his favorite soundtrack? All of this and more in this episode of the Desert Tiger Podcast, and it is all brought to you by DesertTigerMerch.com, because that's where you go to cop yourself something from the show to rep us everywhere you go. DesertTigerMerch.com. Hats and toques are going to be selling out super soon. We have like almost no smalls in pretty much all of our items. So if you want any of those, you got to move now, because after this weekend, they might actually be gone. All right. And it's about time that we got the vibe right for this conversation with Raff Pylon. And what better way to do so than to play this latest track? This is King's Lane.
Everything closes. I'm walking along a street where grows a million roses. The castle right beside me leaves me speechless. I'm not dreaming at all. It's all in front of me. This past and present colliding for some reason. Makes me wonder if I could be more than a hopeless boy in a world so wild and hazy. The old kings of this world might have been crazy. It's not any better now. If only my words could ring all over, I'd shout it clear like an emperor. The world would be in peace if we lived together, the way that these million roses share color and space along the old King's Lane. Started all over. Back at a time I felt like I had all the answers. Never cared about the time, cause I had forever. And I was proud to fall. Wanted everything without trying. Don't bother fighting, not really listening. But it only takes a minute around here to figure out all these things you've been wondering about in a hurry. Just a little glimpse at the roses, it makes you happy, but it won't make it better now. If only my words could ring all over, I
Brothers and sisters, for much too long we have been driven by fear and fueled division. This time is over. It is now time to embrace the power of our differences and make a difference. Together we have a responsibility to break down these walls that separate us and unite to create this world where we can finally believe that there's only one earth, one race, the human race.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
Hello, how's it going today, Raff?
Pretty good, yourself?
Can't complain. It's a beautiful day outside, and well, that's all I really need to smile some days. So,
Absolutely, man.
So we're connecting today to talk a little bit about your musical journey.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, are you ready to dive on into it?
Sure. Yeah.
All right, so let's jump into this. From my research, I see that you are quite the multi-instrumentalist, starting with drums at the age of 3, progressing through a few different instruments. So, did you grow up in a musical family? Was the gift of music passed down to you that way? Or how did you come into this musical journey? How did it begin?
Yeah, I mean, I actually have a musical family on my dad's side for sure. Mom's side is more music fan stuff, but my dad was a guitar player for years, and some of my uncles had bands, or like my godfather has been a classical singer for years when he was younger too. So it's been very strong on that side of the family, and that's where I picked it up from. Like my dad would literally. He started recording when I was a kid. There was this thing from the Beatles called the Anthology that came out, some sort of documentary.
Yeah.
And he recorded it on tape. That's how old I am, I guess, at this point. But we had it at home like that, and I kind of caught it at the corner of my eyes, like I said, when I was 2-3 years old, and I was like, "What is that?" And then my dad showed it to me one night, and it just turned my world upside down. And I just wanted to do that my whole friggin' day. For 3-4 years I did that, like playing drums and like copying what the Beatles were doing on screen and listening to songs, and it just became my life for all that time until I picked up hockey a little later, I guess.
That always seems to happen once you get into the team sports sort of era of our lives.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, it's just a matter of like you get to meet people and you have all these things happening, and sometimes you move to different interests for a period. But I went back full circle when I became of age, and I just started doing music again, and it just became my life now.
Okay, so when you came back into it, would that have been when you began and played within Bridgeway?
A little bit before that, to be honest. Like at the end of high school, the last few years, they started a very brand new music program at my high school, which didn't exist before. And then I was it was my last 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, of high school. And that's kind of where music became a bigger part of my life. I kept playing music through time. I was having piano classes, and I picked up guitar along the way. But those music classes at school really made it something like next level for me. Because I got into a situation where I became like the actual entertainer of the whole high school when they figured out, oh, that guy can actually play. And I was like, oh, maybe that's my thing, So like from there, I just went like, okay, so I'll just go to college in music, get a little better, meet some more people, and I'll try to start a band. And that's how I got into it. And that's where Bridgeway started.
Okay, so you went to college then?
Yeah, absolutely. I went for 5 years, did 2 different programs. I did songwriting and music arrangement, and I had my instrument for that period was piano. And then I went back for the other part of the program, which was more like the interpretation studio performance, and I did that one in vocals. So I did like the both sides actually.
Okay, so not just studying one area, but multiple areas, just like you've been doing since you were a youth.
Yeah, I mean, never enough information in that brain when you want to go that far, I guess.
All right, so you spent some years fronting and playing keyboards in Bridgeway. You guys recorded an album with Tommy Mac of Headley,
Right.
released a few singles. You guys had quite a bit of success for your first band. So, what were some of the important lessons that you say that you learned during those years?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I mean, like, I learned many things because as much as we had decent success, we made certain decisions that directed us a certain way. And I'm looking back, I'm thinking with the experience I got now that probably if we made certain different decisions and we listened to certain people, it could have gone different, and maybe it could have been, I mean, for the better or worse. But I don't think everything was wrong that we did. Like, we had success because of certain things that we decided to do, but other things that we decided to leave behind could have been maybe something that could have made us even bigger, maybe. And like at this point, maybe we would still be together if that was the case. But things happened, and obviously, being in a band, you learn to deal with different people, and you have to. It's like a family, and you have like these egos that you have to deal with, and it's not always easy, I'll tell you that. But we still had a lot of fun throughout.
No, it's for sure. It's being in a band and having a crew can be a really fun experience, but when you're creating and touring and spending so much time together, and what the music business is a business, so what comes from fun can become really taxing when maybe some people don't necessarily want to handle the business side of things or whatever aspects it is that happened to be what led to Bridgeway parting ways.
You touch a very important point there. Like, the whole business side of things is not necessarily something that all musicians are interested in. So when it gets to the point where like some of the guys want to get involved in it and the others don't, but then everybody wants to kind of feel like they all have the same purpose and work value and the whole collective. It makes it hard for some people when you're just like a young guy in your 20s trying to make it, and you like everybody's not making the same effort because some are more interested in certain aspects and others don't. So it becomes really touchy sometimes when you have those discussions.
Absolutely, for sure. So from Bridgeway parting ways, you make the decision to go solo. You begin recording with the likes of Rob Wells, Ben Pelshat, Earl Powell, some very big names within the music industry. This was 2018. So what was it like to begin to craft this Raff Pylon sound?
Well, that was so different in the sense that, I used to rely on a lot of people in the studio to work with. My guys were like tremendous musicians, to be honest. So like, just sitting down, and I would come in with the song and I'd be like, all right, so I have this idea for drums, this idea for guitars and stuff. And then they would just bring me to another level by themselves because they were just that much better than I was at these instruments. I'm a multi-instrumentalist, but what it does is I'm very good at everything, but I'm not the best at any of them, except maybe piano, because I really mastered it throughout the years and I went to college in it. But the other instruments are stuff that I'm just having a lot of fun with. But these guys, it was their thing, So like, obviously I would trust my drummer with my life, going in the studio and be like, right, this is the idea I got. Just make it, the best thing we could ever want on that record. Now I just end up in a situation where I get in the studio, there's a producer, and then there's me, and I have all the instruments, and it's just like, well, I have to make it friggin' perfect all the time by myself. So I had to literally get better at all these instruments that I kind of left behind for a couple of years because I had like so many great musicians that I could just rely on. So it was definitely another experience. And the other thing too that happened is it gave me a lot of creative freedom, because obviously like I didn't have to have a bass in the track because there was a bass player in the band. I could just use a synth if I felt like that was the right way to go, and that made me go to maybe a little more pop sound that I used to have with the band, which is more pop rock, Simple Plan, Headley era. And, I think it was beneficial in that sense.
Okay, awesome. And like you said, it gave you the opportunity to explore various sounds, and with your first release, which came on March 1st, 2019, your mini EP Origin, you had the opportunity to work with a symphony, to record with a symphony, so very much definitely a change up. So what was it like to finally release your first 2 songs as Raff Pylon, and what was it like to be able to record with the symphony?
Well, it was definitely fun because it had been a long time since the Bridgeway album came out, so I was happy to get some more music to my fans and have something that really sounds like myself. Although at the same time, when you think of, me releasing symphonic music and stuff like that, that's definitely not the thing that I'm putting forth when I'm presenting myself as an artist. But that was really an experience that I wanted to do. And it was such a blessed experience, man. Like, you don't even know. Like, I was just sitting in the studio like that, 19 string musicians, I was sitting down just receiving a wall of sound. That was like unreal, to be honest. Like, it was pretty crazy, but I really loved it. And, it's just something that I really wanted to do. And when I released it, like, the reaction was really good because they were like, wow, okay, that's so different. Like, well, that's an aspect of rap that we didn't know about at all. So that was interesting to do that. But then, coming forward with the next singles that I came with, the Can't Let You Go's and the King's Lane, that's more kind of the sound that I'm going towards for my, let's call it the professional pop sound, more like my brand type of thing.
All right, well, let's talk about when that brand finally releases with Can't Let You Go, May 2nd, 2019. So this is finally your true interpretation of the direction you're going, that pop world you mentioned earlier. So what does Can't Let You Go mean to you, both lyrically and with the release as your first single going into and now introducing people to your true new sound?
Well, in terms of the lyrics, it was really just a collective effort, to be honest. Like, I had this idea of doing the song. That was the first song that I kind of produced by myself to start with. I was starting to get the hang of, production in my house and everything. I put myself a little studio together, and I created this loop that became like the basics for Can't Let You Go. And then I started writing some of the lyrics about it. And the whole Can't Let You Go thing was like, I write a lot of stuff about life. And that period for me was kind of a period where, it was on and off with certain girls that I cared about. And, everybody has these times. And I was a little confused with my own personal life, to be honest, because like with the band gone, I was just like, I had a lot of questions in my head. So it was, it was a lot of things like that with the Can't Let You Go. Also probably having something to do with the meaning of, I can't let go of certain things in my life, but then I still got to move forward and make things happen. So it was kind of all these things at once. And then in terms of the sound, it was just like the first time that I really had an impact in the production in itself, more than just bringing in the song, so it was interesting in that sense too. And working with Earl and Ben on that track really made it just next level in terms of how great it sounded, because they took my loop and my song and they just went like, okay, so we could add this and that, and we could make this sound like this, and we just moved things together and we collaborated and just with the goal of making it sound like the best record we possibly could. And I think we did a very good job at that.
Okay, no, it's definitely a very good song. I enjoy it, and also enjoy the bilingual version of the track as well that released on November 8th, 2019. But there was 8 months between that bilingual version and your latest track now, King's Lane. So obviously the world shut down and there's a few reasons. A lot of people have had to change their plans. So this period of time between singles, is that partially because of this pandemic situation, or were there other factors as well?
Well, I mean, sure didn't help because that was a hard time for everybody. But to be fair, like the main reason for that time period where I didn't release anything is because I was on The Voice here in Quebec. And the way these shows work is you have contracts that you have to respect and everything. And some of the elements kind of held me back from releasing new music for the time I was on the show. So I had to hold back on some of the material that I wanted to release, and that was fine. I understood the situation. I was okay with it. But then the moment that I had had more freedom during summer through some releases of like clauses of the contracts and stuff with The Voice, I just felt like I had an opportunity there. And with everything happening this summer with all these racial tensions in the U.S. and like even some of the stuff that we live over here, because with everything that happened, even this week with what happened in Quebec with Joyce, I was just like, wow, okay, right. It just shocks me every time, and I felt like I'm no politician, so I'm thinking of what are the best ways for me to express myself about those things, and I had that song ready, and I was just like, that now's the time to talk about this. And the fact that we had all these collaborators joining into that one particular song just meant a lot to me.
No, it's King's Lane is definitely a very powerful song, especially in this current social climate, like you say, with what's going on south of our border in the United States, and even here home in Canada, where back at the last United States election, a lot of people were saying, oh, we're not that bad, and look at how much things have changed in the last 4 years and just how crazy things have become. So it's definitely, as artists, like you said, not politicians, but it's still important to try and voice our opinions, try and help be the change that we want to see within the world. So I'm very glad that this song comes at this time. So what was it like to also be able to work with the legendary Tito Jackson on this track as well? And you also partnered with Amnesty International, continuing to be the change you want to be. So what has these opportunities been like with King's Lane?
Oh, it's been pretty amazing, honestly. Like, it was crazy because basically when I recorded King's Lane, we did that in Los Angeles, and that was with Earl Powell again. And I started recording out there in like what looked like a house studio, but I didn't know exactly where I was until I started looking around me, and I just saw some like Jackson 5 amplifiers here and there tagged and everything. I was just like, where the hell am I now? Like, and I literally asked, I had to ask Earl to be like, where did you bring me? And he literally told me like, well, you're in one of Tito's home studios. And I was like, wow, okay. I didn't even know, like he brought me there like surprise. I was like, okay. So we worked there the whole week for like 5 days. I think it was a Monday through Friday type of week where we recorded the whole song. And on Thursday night around 10 p.m., Tito came back home, and he was coming back from London, England, or whatever it was he was doing there. And we just met like that. It was pretty amazing to just meet the guy like this. And he was super chill. It's like, he just came in like we met years ago and we were best of friends, just like, hey man, what's up? How's it going? And everything was super relaxed guy. So it was a lot of fun. And he heard the song throughout the week, and he was just like, yeah, that's really good stuff. So when the time came to release it, and we felt like, maybe it would be cool to have him on, he was glad to accept, and he just came on board.
That is so cool. Oh, wow. What an opportunity.
No, it was really special. And I feel like it really helped the song ring through to people as well, because like having a name like that, but to me, it's just not just about the name. It's also the fact that it just created a situation where that speech just makes it, it summarizes everything, and it gives a lot of power to it. But it also comes from this guy that comes from a whole different background than mine. And then you have two very, present speakers in the song instead of just being myself, just talking about my things. So to have this voice just partner up and share my message just gives that much more weight to the whole thing, I think.
It was so unexpected, 'cause you were here last night. Hey, and I woke up this morning without you by my side. Such a misunderstanding, won't take me far this time. Hey, thought you caught me red-handed, but girl, the fault ain't mine, and I can't let you go. Forever wanna be your lover, I'm wanting you to stay around. No, I could never, I can't let you go. I've never really been much of a fighter, I wouldn't last around. You got me feeling beaten, baby, I can't let you go. Ooh, baby, yeah, I swear that I can't let you go. Ooh, baby, I wouldn't last around. You got me feeling beaten, baby, I can't let you go. It's hard to keep breathing, about to hit the ground. Hey, could you stop for a minute and try to hear me out? Yeah. Would I still be here standing, see you through these eyes? Yeah, I'll be taking a speeding until you change your mind, and I can't let you go. Forever wanna be your lover, I'm wanting you to stay around. No, I could never, I can't let you go. I've never really been much of a fighter, I wouldn't last around. You got me feeling beaten, baby, I can't let you go. Ooh, baby, yeah, I can't give you up. Ooh, yeah, you can't leave me this way. Baby, please, now you got me down on bended knees, and I'm saying that I forever wanna be your lover. I'm wanting you to stay around. Oh, I could never, I can't let you go. I've never really been much of a fighter, I wouldn't last around. You got me feeling beaten, baby, I can't let you go. Forever wanna be your lover, I'm wanting you to stay around. No, I could never, I can't let you go. I've never really been much of a fighter, I wouldn't last around. You got me feeling beaten, baby, I can't let you go.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
Okay, awesome. So for the music video, of course, it's a little difficult to record maybe some of our more traditional style of music videos. So with this approach, it was kind of cool. I like how you made it look as if we were watching the video with you as you're watching it on your phone. And another thing I really like is that it included a lot of various people, some of which who have helped you at various stages of your career. So what was it like to put this music video together and to bring together some of these individuals that have helped you come to this point?
No, man, it was definitely a thought process at first, because we were just like, so what are we going to do now that we can't move from home? So we just had to figure out ways to make it happen. But I thought about getting all of my friends into it because I was like, well, I want people to share the message. I don't want to be the only one just releasing something and that, it just feels like I'm talking by myself. I want to have people back it up if they do feel like it. So I just shared the song with a bunch of my friends and other collaborators and other artists that I have in my circle. And I just went like, do you guys feel like, this is something you would back up? And like, if so, would you care to like sing it with me so that we can make a video off it? And most of them just got on board right away and they were like, well, yeah, that's awesome. Let's do it. So that's kind of how we started doing that. And then afterwards, we just started thinking of how I would, be a part of the video and what my role should be in it. And the fact of receiving the video like that kind of just, it came from my videographer and I was just like, oh, that's actually a really cool idea. So let's do it, and that's how the video came to be. But yeah, like it was really so much fun and I'm really honored that everybody got on board like that. And in a heartbeat, it just took no time. Like all of them just went like, yeah, of course we'll do it. And I was just like, wow, okay. They're really happy about the message. They support it and they also want to support me at the same time. So I was really grateful.
Mm-hmm. Well, you have been very grateful as you've been shouting out some of these people on your social media as well, sharing just how grateful you are for their efforts.
I mean, it felt like the least I could do, they did all these things for me in the past few months. So it's just like, well, let's just, talk about these people and let my fans know who they are.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And of course, big shout out to a past podcast guest for D.O. Gibson for being one of those incredible people.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, good friend of mine from Toronto.
Good friend too. He's always good to see D.O. He's always hype, always helps to bring out the best in people.
Oh, that's for sure, yeah.
So you recently mentioned that you were on The Voice in Montreal. So what has that opportunity been like to be surrounded by some of the most influential and storied artists from that area and to learn from them? What were some of the lessons that you were able to take forward from this experience?
Well, it was definitely a different experience for me to start with the fact of being on like such a big TV show, like it's like all the behind the scenes stuff is unreal. Like it's so different. Like the experience of being with all the people and seeing the production and happen in real time and everything. And like all the organization that happens behind it. It was definitely an eye opener for me because like, I did get TV performances before, but as an artist, you're generally handled by everybody and you don't necessarily see everything that's happening. But when you're in a show like that and you're a participant, then it's a whole different ballgame. So it was definitely fun to see all that and see how things are happening. And it gave me a lot of respect for how, TV production is happening and what the work that they do. So that was definitely something that I learned on the backside of it. In terms of the show itself, it was just a lot of fun to get to meet some of the artists. It was a fun coincidence because like all four of the artists, the coaches that were there this year are really artists that I respect from Quebec that do really great music in their own right. Like for the style that they're doing, it's really, really good. And I really respect their craft. So it was a lot of fun there. And even like the big, the big guest coach that they had for all of the people was Ginette Renault, who's like our own version of Aretha Franklin in Quebec, like, big legend. And so it was very, very interesting to have her be in, rehearsals and stuff like that and just drive you forward to be like the best you can be and everything. And like, they really had a lot of good tips for me. Stuff like, it's details like you got TV screens, make sure you make eye contact with the people at home. So like open your eyes and look straight into the camera and stuff like that if you can sometimes, because it's just good because people feel like you're looking at them and stuff like that you don't necessarily think about when you're doing a live performance at a festival or stuff like that, because it doesn't really matter where you look at that much, because apart from the people in the front rows, they don't really know where you're looking at. So that was definitely a game changer for me to just learn these little things and be like, okay, these details might actually make a difference,
Mm-hmm. No, it definitely, like, stuff like that where you practice being on stage and working in front of a crowd for so long, and then just that little aspect of cameras gets added in, and you don't even think about, oh, well, I should also be engaging these people.
Oh yeah, and definitely using that, especially, my coach told me once, these people are the ones that are going to vote for you. So like, if you actually reach out to them, they're probably going to be like more inclined to be like, well, maybe I'll give $1 to this person.
Oh, that's a very good way to look at it.
That was an interesting thought. I was just like, yeah, well, it makes a lot of sense, man.
For sure. So as artists, we definitely grow a lot. From Bridgeway all the way to King's Lane, you've definitely grown as a musician. And I want to know how you feel you have grown not only as a musician, but also as a human being through the process of releasing this music.
Ooh, that's a tough one too, man. I did grow a lot, and I've seen it the same way I told you about, like, I see some of the decisions we did with the band, and we made that some decisions we made that led to this or that. And it's like looking back now with the experience I got and all this learning process as a musician, but also as a person, and how I actually deal with people surrounding me in my work. I kind of feel like, certain things that I maybe did with people or to people could have been done different or handled in different ways that maybe could have brought us some other places. And the fact that I know now, it just makes me behave with people a different way that I hope and think is more positive maybe than it could have been when I was, just a young kid in his early 20s thinking he had the world in front of him, just ready to feel everything that he was going to give, that because I was so much awesome in my head, and it's just like, yeah, well, I mean, I got something to give, but keep working, man. So that's the type of thing that, you get to learn over time, and to be respectful of everybody that's helping you and all these things is so important. I've always been somebody that was respectful, but also at the same time, I wasn't necessarily somebody to show it so much, I guess. And I had some, like, maybe I was a little distant at times in terms of like my, my feelings and my intentions towards certain things. So I try to make myself more open with people as much as possible now that I know that, it's really important for people to feel that, you're happy that they're doing their work and not just feel like it's granted, So that kind of things I learned over time for sure.
Great answer. Very good answer. All right, we're going to change up the vibe just a little bit for a second to take a dive into your love of hockey. Of course, you said that you played hockey as well. Did you grow up a big fan of the Montreal Canadiens?
Ah, man, you bet. Like, coming from Montreal, there was no choice. I mean, if I were a little bit older, I could have told you Quebec Nordiques maybe, but that was gone by my time. Still have a Quebec Nordiques shirt though. I just bought one this summer. I was in Quebec City traveling because, with COVID and everything, it was harder to go around. So we stayed nearby, and I went with a buddy of mine. We hung out in Quebec City, and we got into this sports store, and I found a Quebec Nordiques shirt, and I was just like, you know what? I guess it's about time. So I brought it back home, and now I have a nice fancy fleur-de-lis shirt. And I'm really happy about it.
Nice. Gotta represent.
Yeah, man.
I saw that you have a Spotify playlist of some of your favorite EA Sports NHL music tracks that have been used through the video games through the years.
Oh, man, yeah.
So do you have an upper echelon of those songs? Like, is there like tippy top songs from those games that you must say were your absolute favorites?
To be honest, if I was to tell you the one soundtrack of all NHL games that I love the most was NHL 2003. All right.
Ooh.
Like, they had so many good songs. Like, in terms of the collective thing, like, I think there's a couple of songs that maybe I loved more over time. Like, one that really, really stand out in my mind is Paramore's Misery Business. That was, I think, I think that was NHL 2008, if I'm not mistaken. But that song was, I picked it up on the actual game. I didn't know of it before, and I was just like, wow, man, that girl's fucking awesome. You know? So that's kind of how I picked it up, and that really stands out as one of the best. And I have a couple ones, like I discovered Airborne through that too, and Bat Country from Avenged Sevenfold and Red Flag from Billy Talent. Those were all awesome songs throughout. But NHL 2003 as a whole, though, definitely wins it because all the songs were awesome, back to back to back. There was nothing bad in this game. Like, everything was crazy. To me, that's definitely the best soundtrack I ever had in a hockey game.
I actually might have to agree with you there. I had a NHL 03 on the GameCube back in the day, and that soundtrack
that
was killer.
Thing, man. Oh yeah, I had GameCube too. That was the best, man.
Nice. Yeah, I remember they had Default and freaking just all sorts of different
Papa
bands
Roach.
on there. Yes.
Oh yeah. I think they had like 2 or 3 songs with Papa Roach. Like, it was crazy.
No, that soundtrack was lit. It was good times.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? Like, there's one other soundtrack that I really loved that wasn't an actual EA Sports NHL game. And I don't know, like, with you having a GameCube, I think maybe you're going to know what I'm talking about. NHL Hits.
Ooh, yes.
That was something else, man.
No, that was also just jam-packed full of just goodies. My goodness.
Oh, and what a game, man. What a game. I think I played that game for 10 years straight. Like, I would go back to my GameCube even though I was on Xbox 360, and I'd be just like, fuck it. I want to make myself a team with cow heads and like pharaohs and stuff. You could do so much weird stuff with that game. It was insane.
If I still had my GameCube, I would track down that game.
Oh, for sure, man. Well, if anything, you could probably find something on the internet to get it.
I'm sure I could somewhere track it down.
Oh, yeah, like there's many times where I feel like I'm just gonna grab myself a little PC laptop and just grab myself like a bunch of emulators and play all the old GameCube, Game Boy games that we used to have, and then all these things that you can't really find anywhere anymore,
Oh, that'd probably be a good option too. I should look into emulators. Ooh, didn't even think of that.
Yeah. Well, don't talk about it too loud because it's.
Oh yeah. Keep it on the down low. I'm just gonna see if they exist. Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I looked it up. I think they do. I think they have it and stuff like that. But yeah.
I would never consider hitting that download button, ever.
please, if you do, just make sure you didn't buy something too expensive to press download on. Just buy a cheap laptop that you don't really mind having viruses in,
Exactly. Something
don't do it on your MacBook Pro, please.
Not the thing that you do the business on. That would be a mistake.
That's right. Keep that thing clean.
All right. So what does the rest of 2020 hold for Raff Pylon?
Well, we're working on a Christmas record now, to be honest. Oh, yeah, that's going to be different. We have a little something, nice surprise for you. It's a really big project that we're working on right now, so we'll see how things go, but we don't have a specific date, like release date so far. But it's coming. Like, in the next few weeks, we're going to be able to announce what the project is in detail, I think. So it'll be a lot of fun. And we have that. And I have an album coming in 2021 that we're working on. It's going to be released around March, I think.
Okay, hype. All right.
And we're still running that. You mentioned it really quickly before. We're still running this fundraiser, the Million Roses fundraiser for we're collecting money for so Amnesty International, who's going to make a sensitization program against all the systemic racism that we have in Canada. So they're taking care of that, and we're gonna help them by collecting money through Kings Lane and the Million Roses fundraiser.
Okay, awesome. Well, before I ask my last question, it's probably a good idea to ask, where can the listeners of the podcast go if they want to possibly contribute to that effort?
Well, the easiest way is to go either on my website, raffpylon.com, or find the information on my multiple social media. You can look at my Facebook, Instagram. It's all going to be written on it. @Raff Pylon is my handle. So you can go look me up there. You can give a follow, and then you can find all the info in my bio.
All right, awesome. And they definitely should go and do that. A fantastic cause.
Yeah, I'm really, really happy that Amnesty is doing this thing. It was just such a great timing, actually. You know, we called them, and that was the first organization I had in mind, and we started talking with them in Montreal here. I was really just like asking what they were up to lately and if they were backing any of that up, because they're a human rights organization, right? So I was just like, well, okay, well, what are you guys are doing right now? And they said, yeah, we're starting in this fall. We're going to do this program to sensitize Canadians about all these things. And I was just like, wow, okay, what a perfect timing. Let's just partner up on that. And they agreed to it. So here we are.
All right, awesome. Well, I see that your goal is $2,000, so hopefully we can not only reach but crush that.
I would love that. Honestly, we're that was goal number one, but we're expecting to go as high as possible, and we're trying to give that money around Christmas time. Actually, I believe we're gonna leave it open until Christmas time, and we're gonna give them all the money for 2021 start.
All right, awesome. Well, hopefully, like I said, the ambush decides to help out with that so that you can make the most of this effort.
Thank you so much, man. I'm definitely hoping this is going to turn out well for everybody, and that's going to help us, move towards a society where we're a little more tolerant, welcome, and inclusive. You know,
I can only hope for the same, my friend.
Yeah.
All right, last question. So, in my research, I see that you wear a necklace. It has the words, "You're the music in my heart," inscribed on them. So what is the importance of this pendant, of this message that is inscribed on it?
And that's pretty crazy that you picked that up, man. But yeah, it was so, the story behind it is basically it's my ex-girlfriend who gave me that necklace when we started dating, and that was just around that was right in the turnaround between Bridgeway and my solo career. So that's kind of what started my movement towards, doing my things by myself and everything. And she was there to support me at that period of time, and yeah, that's just a necklace that she gave me for Christmas, actually. And, that's, I think, one of the very first, very like truly meaningful things that, somebody did for me in that manner. So it really had a lot of impact for me. And, even though we're not together anymore, that's the type of things where I'm not somebody that has a lot of grief over people, and like, I really like to keep the positives of everybody that I met throughout my life, especially, girlfriends and people like that, where, I mean, there's a reason we've been together for some time. And I truly believe that, I grew up to become a better person through, having these ladies in my life, even though it was for a certain period of time and it wasn't forever. Like, they still had an impact, and they brought a lot of happiness to my life during that time. So that's why I'm not really shy of wearing it still,
Mm-hmm. Well, that's it, is not everything lasts forever. Sometimes some people are here for a moment to help us realize something or to help us grow, and they too also have the opportunity to grow from those moments.
That's right. Yeah. And I'm definitely feeling like, both of us in that moment definitely learned from each other and grew up to become a better person that we were at the start. And that's what it's all about at the end.
Hey, well, I'm glad to hear that. And I wish to continue to see the further growth from you going forward, from a Christmas track moving forward into an album and beyond.
Thanks, man. I'm definitely looking forward to it as well. So excited to release some new music, man. That was awesome, and thanks a lot to you.
Oh, I had an awesome time. Raff had an awesome time. I hope that you, the ambush, had an awesome time listening to this conversation. Hope you also had an awesome time hearing the 2 tracks we played for you today by Raff Pylon. Those, of course, being King's Lane and Can't Let You Go. You can find both of these tracks, as as well as the rest of Raff Pylon's catalog on, yes, your favorite music streaming service. It is that easy. And when you're there, go ahead and hit follow so that when Raff is dropping more music, it makes its way into your ears onto your phone ASAP. And with that, it is now time for our final Desert Tiger podcast roaring thank yous, and a roaring DTP thank you to Raff Pylon for joining us here today. A roaring DTP thank you to Amanda over at Vocab Communications for setting the whole thing up, and a big roaring DTP thank you to you, the Ambush, for tuning into this episode. If you haven't joined on up with the Am yet, it's super easy. All you have to do is go ahead and hit subscribe on the podcast listening service you're using right now. You can also help the show by giving us a big old fat 5 stars. You can also share this episode. It's as easy as taking a screenshot, sharing that image, and tagging Raff Pylon, the Desert Tiger Podcast, and me, the Colton G, when you do so. You can also help the show out by going and checking out the merchandise at DesertTigerMerch.com and copping yourself something or repping the show every single place that you go. Yes. Alright, everybody, this Friday on the show, we are joined by Ryan Hillier as we discuss his 2020 album, No Excuses. And that's all going down, like I said, this Friday. So until then, you know what's going on. You know how it is. I want you. Yes, you to go out and find your mountaintop, to find your oasis. Whatever it is that makes your heart sing to its fullest capacity, go out there, craft that passion, make it yours, and then sing out across the canyon. Sing out across that waterfront and show the world just how beautiful the thing that you have created is. Just how beautiful you are capable of being as well. And sometimes we just don't hear it enough. So I'm going to tell you again. I'm going to slow it down even. You are beautiful. Yes, yes, you are. And until next week, bye-bye. And keep your claws sharp.